Welcome at BOZAR. I'm very glad and proud that there's so many people, important people, for audience engagement, participation, and talk and work with the audiences here united in the room. I'm just gonna send you already a little video to give a teaser about what BOZAR does with participation. So that's a little wrap up. I'm gonna come back to those images, because it's those images, those people in the video, that makes sense. That's why we do it. That's why we are curating. That's why we programming. That's why we are making communication plans. BOZAR is a house who programs multidisciplinary. So we have like 15 big exhibitions, 250 concerts, more than 300 cinema screens, movie screenings, theater dance. So we have some tools to mix up the audience. And I want to show you like a very, very, very short history of participation in our domain. Like in the mid of last century, exhibitions were very object-orientated. The curator had an idea, he contacted the artist, and then the audience was looking at it. Later on, in the mid-60s, you had some social inclusion and diversity. There were questions like, are we reaching out for the right audience? Are we in contact with the questions of our time? And recently, you have the principle of new collecting. New collecting, the stories by the audience, they have to come back into the museum. It's called co-curating. So our definition, it's important that every institution has its own definition, because there are thousands of definitions of participation. For us, for BOZAR, participation is a unifying philosophy that brings together marketing, education, and artistic programming in common service of maximizing impact. Very important word, impact, and I will come back to that one. But what do we know about our target groups? It starts with the knowledge of your audience. Later on, no, just before, there were some questions like communities. Key is know your audience. And we categorized 3 different categories with some sub-categories. We have audience by habit, and I'm not going to give you a lecture because this is the boring part, but it's important to understand how we think. Audience by habit, subcategories, classical culture habit, hungry about classical culture, contemporary culture habit, world culture habit. Then you have the audience by choice. It's classical culture amateur, contemporary culture amateur, world culture amateur, and the connected alternative culture amateur. And the audience by surprise. Those are the hard ones to reach out. Those are the ones that don't come to your museum. Those are the ones that you have to find where they are. Audience by habit you have them. They show up at vernissages, they read your newsletters, they call you, mail you when something's wrong, they are subscribed, and they are aware of GPDR. Audience by choice. Well, they were here once, and they doubt a little bit about your offer. In a way, they're not used to participate for reasons of lifestyle, lack of opportunities, or financial resources. Those, for one, participating is not a habit, or who rarely choose to attend a show or a concert. Audience by surprise, like I said, those ones are not in a house, but in terms of diversity, they can make the difference. 3 types to actions. By the way, this is a picture of Europe. Yes, we can. It's a conference we held like last year with, at that time, I don't think he was already president, but Mr. Macron. How can we act? I think there are 3 principles, 3 efforts to make. Widening, and that's attracting audience with the same social demographic profile as the one you have. Deepening, because building up a relationship with the audience, and hence the experience of the current audience. Oops, that's too fast. And diversify, attracting people with a different social demographic profile, including people with no previous contact with the arts. Widening, deepening, you can do it with the audience by choice and the audience by habit. Make the difference in diversity, you can do it with the audience by surprise. So participation, it's an active role of the audience. Let them contribute, listen to them, co-create, interact, and building the bridges. I'm going to give you a couple of cases. Some you already all do, like an opening of a show. What's an opening of a show? It's like shout out. They say like, it's here, it's going to happen, and then you want to have the best ambassadors on board, and you will look for original angles to get like people who are not used to come to your show. That's the first one. You can clap. That's a show you can tomorrow visit. I think it's at noon or after lunch.
Yeah, just after lunch.
Don't miss it. It's like 80 artworks by the world famous artist Fernand Léger. And it's going to close in a couple of weeks, so it's really, really a wonderful exhibition. Why did I show you that one? Because in the storytelling for an exhibition, you have to consider it a bit like a movie. You have to build up. You have to build up tension. First, you have people who are interested in your content, but by building like a festive opening, we had the idea what does Léger is inspired by. And circus is one of his biggest inspiring sources. So we built the tent that you still see outside. We had like circus acts, we had like young people learning some circus skills, and it was all when the exhibition started. So you already had like children in touch with the content, and you already had like people being your ambassador for the exhibition. Next example is BOZAR Lab, and it's only, I think, some slides. Last year we created BOZAR Lab. It's a new department. It's a new space where we think about the missing link of art, innovation, and interaction. I'm just gonna let you show the slides and come back to that one. BOZAR Lab. The first exhibition in BOZAR Lab was called Activate the City. And we were thinking like, if you want to be innovative, if you want to think about the future, then you have to let the young people, the millennials, Generation Z, make it as an exhibition. So the whole process was, we were learning them via STEAM labs, some skills they never had before. 3D printing, thinking about concepts, coding, and also putting it together with artists that we offered. So the first exhibition was made by them, and it was like a reaction about the way they can change the city. Great artworks and great new things were conceived. I remember there was one guy, a young youngster from Molenbeek, and in his street he saw like there's a lot of dirty air, and he wanted to build like a 3D model of the streets that have the most dirty air. So you have algorithm, and then you have like technology that allows to make a sculpture that's an answer to questions that we all have. Also in the BOZAR Lab, we launched an open call to see in the normal program that we offer, how can we build new tools for the people who go to the show. We host in the fall an exhibition, it's called Theodore van Loon. It's a Flemish Caravaggianist, and we asked like digital artists to think about new ways to present that work. So it's a new way of presenting and also a new way of experimenting via VR, which is like a solo experience, but why not share that on a big forum? Other example is Singing Brussels. Singing Brussels is every year we present it, a joyful rendezvous for choral singers. Everybody can join, even if you can sing, even if you're all young, doesn't matter. During a couple of weeks, we have like intensive workshops with professional teachers, and at the end, there is like a big festive singing weekend. This year, there were more than 30 choirs, and 1,500 singers, 600 pupils, 30 teachers, and during that weekend, we reach out for 9,000 participants in this place, and visitors who sing along with hymns that they made happy. Another example of how you can, and now the focus is really like how can you let the content participate with other artists that not immediately are impressed. Paul Bury, it's a Belgian kinetic artist. It's an exhibition we hosted in 2017. Kinetic art was shown in the room, but we thought that we had to do something with the sound. And it's not about, because now maybe you think like participation, what has it to do with like the conceiving of an exhibition? It came along. During the exhibition, we saw like wow, that's a missed opportunity. We have like people who are already interested in the content of this exhibition, but we can reach out for younger generation that has something to do with it. So we had like a contest, and maybe you can let us show the music. Back to this, yep. That was the result. So all the different sound works, they were sound recorded, and then other people on a platform could use all those tracks to make their own soundtrack. And more than 50 people, 50 young soundscape artists made like those kind of soundscapes. Polbury was also very involved with balls, so we had like a pétanque every Sunday inside this hall. That's also a sculpture of Polbury, and we brought kind of this sculpture back in the room. But then we were thinking about what about summer? And this is a video that makes the link, I hope, to the... So summer, it's hard to get people inside a museum in summer. And my boss had a great idea to make like the exhibition that we held at that time, about 35 years of urban culture, hip-hop music in Brussels, to make it also like an outdoor version. BOZAR doesn't have like a really neighborhood. We are in between uptown and downtown. But we created a zone, and we called it BOZAR Open Air. We tagged it Your Holiday. There's whole day in the picture. But anyway, Your Holiday in the city. By the way, that's me like taking a jump in the, in the swimming pool. And it became an attractive new outdoor space where we could do some storytelling. And maybe those people who came there to just skip dive or just to hang in the sun were not our first audience, and maybe they didn't go immediately to the exhibition, but we made them enthusiastic about what BOZAR is able to do. We named the pool the biggest public outdoor pool in Brussels because there is no other outdoor pool in Brussels. So that became an activist statement, and it went worldwide. We even had like some people from Philadelphia, no? I saw somebody from, no? It's listed? Yeah. We made it in your concourse newspaper. So it's a good way to get some attention, but it's also a good way to get like the people by surprise in your space and to make something memorable for them. Failure. It didn't work out for the winter edition. First, we thought like maybe skating could be something, but there's no connection. So you need a story. You need a story, and you need partners. The Yo exhibition, we made them together with the people who are really making that kind of music, and it took a long time to get in touch with them. It took a long time to get trust from them, because everyone was thinking like, what is BOZAR doing with hip-hop? It's not our stuff. Participation is hard work. And now I'm going to give you some marketing slides. BOZAR is a living sketchbook that's colored by our audiences.
We've got 2 minutes now, Johan. Okay?
All right, I go to the 6 piece. 6 piece. Anyway, that's bullshit. I mean, like marketeers, they like to talk in peace, but I try to wave something about it. Proposition. You have to go to your audience. You have to know your audience, and you have to give them a good proposition. The process is very important. It takes time to talk to them. You have to have somebody in the team who's able to talk to them. You have to have the power of the organization to make that happen. You have to plan it. It takes a year. It takes a full year to get projects like that ongoing. Partners, persevere, and participate, like celebrate wins. You have to make, with all the people that worked on those kind of projects, you have to party, and you have to make a moment that's very important for them. How we participate, it's the same slide, but without the peace, set your goals. You can't make them all. Just select some or more diversity, in-depth experience, interactivity, break down barriers, impact. But you can't have them all. Set the rules. Set the rules for the conversation, because participation needs some rules. How far can the partner go? How far has he power? Plan. It takes time and resources, budget. It's not like call somebody from the neighborhood. No, you have to go there. You have to detect the right partners, and you have to speak the same language. Get everybody on board. Inside, participation starts within the organization. Measure impact. That's something you can do with external studies, but you have to know what it brought along and keep the conversation. If one project brought you closer to an audience that you wanted to obtain, keep talking to them.
Okay, Johan, I think we're going to nice way to end.
But just one
We don't
thing.
have much time, Johan.
No,
So it's a very interesting case study. I think that's something we can talk about at today's stage.